I always figured Batman drew from Dick Tracy, but this series really drew from that aesthetic. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, and I didn't believe it when everyone was saying that Caped Crusader was a worthy successor to Batman the Animated Series. But I'm here to tell you that the hype is real. And the best thing about this show, aside from the top-notch storytelling, was the art. I mean, look no further than the intro credits to see how fantastic the texture alone is. There are some slight flaws in the animation, like bad CG background bystanders that have more than just odd walking cycles, but that is so incredibly easy to look past because everything else is so well done. It lends to more simple designs with fewer lines and pencil mileage in general, but that only allows for the real work to be put into shading, which is truly unbelievable. It's almost like the shadows take on a life of their own in some of these shots, noir Venetian blinds and all. It was like experiencing what I remember Batman the Animated Series was like. Obviously, if you go back, the original series doesn't look bad. In fact, it still looks phenomenal. It's just this has modern day technology and budget behind it. However, one thing that wasn't changed in the art was how the original was drawn with a black base layer. This one is too, and you can tell. And this is probably the biggest bias I have towards the show, because no matter what I thought of the storytelling or action, which was great, it still got that amazing nostalgic feeling that just put a smile on my face. Plus, no spoilers yet until I get to that part of the review, but you know the filmmakers had to sneak in a classic shot of Batman on the rooftops with lightning silhouetting him. But speaking of Batman, Hamish Linklater does a great job. At first, I was concerned he would be putting on a deep, gravelly voice, and he essentially is, but that all felt genuine and natural. It doesn't quite have the same feel as Kevin Conroy, who you can tell the Batman voice is the real person and Bruce is the fake voice he puts on. And they went for that exact intention with this, it just didn't work as well. I also have never liked the curved ears. I know it harkens back to the old designs, but in this, Batman will have a side-on shot and he'll look incredible. Then he'll turn his head and I like it a lot less. But that's inconsequential to the story. Going in, I knew that there was no way that the writing could live up to the Emmy-winning narratives from the original animated series. And sometimes that's true, but for the most part, I think this was as good, if not better than what we've seen before. With that, the show was written and made under the assumption that the viewer already knows Batman lore, and plays with that fact. A lot of the Batman stories that this drew from are very played out, but the show introduced enough new elements and characters that this felt fresh. So if you're a Batman fan looking for another great interpretation of him, check out Batman Caped Crusader, because I loved every second of this, and I guarantee you'll enjoy at least a few of the episodes in this short first season. But now, let's dive right into spoilers, so continue forward at your own risk. But the one episode I thought had a great mystery was also kind of ruined if you already know who Clayface is. The moment Basil was on screen, my only question was whether or not he was already Clayfaced. The filmmakers tried to throw the viewer off by killing him, but by then, the jig was up. I also loved Clayface's design, where he just straight up looked like the Shadow. And like I said before, there were some fantastic moments that were put in because they're a staple of Batman's character. There's an episode that focused on the police trying to catch Batman, and a lot of that was pulled straight from year one. And because of that, every time they would do something from that comic, I would jump out of my seat and say, they're doing the thing. Of all the episodes, it's hard to pick a least favorite because the worst is still entertaining, but that might be the one that focused on the vampire-esque girl. Although, just for the sake of featuring pretty much every Robin, I loved it nonetheless. In that episode, the first kid that went missing was named Dickie, and I thought there was no other reason why the writers would use that name. But then the next two were Jason and Stephanie, and I was just waiting for more and more of the Robins to show up. But I was extremely surprised to see Carrie. Loved her inclusion. And I also really enjoyed the two-part finale, though I kinda wish Two-Face wasn't the big end villain, which the whole season led up to. Don't get me wrong, it was well done, it's just that he's one of those well-known Batman villains, because I really appreciated how the show was highlighting the bottom-of-the-barrel rogues more than you will ever know. Though I did think it was neat that Two-Face's scarred side was the good one. Yet, I could be misinterpreting, because that idea was only hinted at in one scene. But my favorite aspect of the show was how a lot of the psychology it dove into was there to set up Batman using a gun. And he uses it in the best way possible. It's the same way that Superman has technically used a gun. He used it in a way that demonstrates exactly why they should never be used. The fear that it causes and the power that it gives the wielder is dangerous, especially when you put it in the hands of a scared and unpredictable criminal. But the show also set up Batman finally calling Alfred by his name, and let me tell you, that was adorable. And before the show could end on the best note ever, they just had to add one last scene and leave a weird taste in my mouth. It's not bad, and I'm still hesitantly excited to see this new interpretation of the Joker, but my first thought was, come on guys, you had something good going. It was the exact same thought I had when watching The Batman, because there's no need for the 50th version of the Joker. I love him just as much as the next comic book fan, but Batman has so many other villains. As this show demonstrates, there's a rich, unexplored well of characters that deserves to be told. But those are my thoughts on Amazon's new show, Batman Caped Crusader. If you agree, or finish the show with a different opinion, leave a comment and let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.